Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today's episode is going to be a solo episode, and I really want to talk about something that's been going on more behind the scenes and that I really haven't talked about on my social media, and I want to share more about this on my social media and on my podcast, in my YouTube, and it's basically like my sinus story. And so for those of you listening who don't know, I have been having chronic sinus issues for the longest time. I can't tell you exactly how long because it has literally been that long that I don't even know how long I've been having these issues. And so just to give you the very long and short of it, in 2021 I had gone to the hospital for something called hot potato mouth, and believe it or not, that's actually a real thing, and it's when your tonsils get so big that it sounds like you have a hot potato in the back of your mouth and you can't really talk the right way. And so essentially, like, doctors are vigilant of this because if your tonsils get big enough, then they could cut off the airflow in your, like, to your lungs, and then you can asphyxiate and die. So that was why I went to the hospital back in 2021, and I did have very enlarged tonsils back then. Now, however, my tonsils are not suffering nearly as much. The biggest takeaway from that particular instance in 2021 was that I had this retention cyst in one of my sinuses. And so I went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, and he had made a couple of recommendations, but he made those recommendations based on just what I was telling him. And he didn't have access to the CT scans. Now, at the time, because I went in November of 2021, I had just found out that I was pregnant. And it wouldn't have mattered because you can't get anything when you're pregnant. Like, the most that you can take when you're pregnant is Tylenol. So I really had no chance whatsoever of getting this handled when I was pregnant. And so I had to wait until at least after Penelope was born. But of course, you know, when you have a newborn, they are very demanding, and you need to feed them and take care of them and help them. And don't get me wrong, I love Penelope and I love doing every second. Well, I enjoyed, you know, the parts that I did enjoy. There were some parts where I was like, she hates me, and I'm pretty sure I had postpartum depression, even though they never diagnosed me with PPD. But more or less, you know, bringing a newborn to the point of, like, being able to viably become a toddler was my main prerogative. And so I was taking care of her for the last, what is she now, 20 months? Almost the last 2 years. And so this year I was like, okay, I can definitely take the time to take care of myself because she's a little bit more independent and she can do a lot more. Like, granted, she's been at daycare since she was 6 months old, but if she was in daycare, there were, you know, some issues for a while there when she would spike a fever, and obviously back in October of 2023, she wound up having a febrile seizure. So I just made sure that within the first year and a half that there was always somebody in close proximity, and there still is, don't get me wrong. But now I feel like because she's been very healthy and because she's bigger now and she's like talking and she's capable of doing so much more, that I could take some time to figure out what's going on with my sinuses and this cyst that exists in my face. And so I actually recently went to a different ENT, and all of this has to do with business, I promise. I recently went to a different ENT, and this ENT thought, you know, you don't need these surgeries. He's like, I actually think that this is a bigger underlying issue. I was like, well, what could that possibly be? And he said, well, I don't know. That's why we're going to go get you a blood test. And he took 4 vials of blood. And he's like, I'm ordering the film from your most recent CT scan, which I did go to the hospital in December of 2023 because I had pink eye for 2 straight weeks. And they thought it was cellulitis. It was not. It was adenovirus. So I went to the hospital, they did the CT scan, and so now he's requesting the film so that he could see what's going on with the structure of my bones in my skull and with my sinuses, etc. So as of right now, he's like, the only surgery that I think that you need is maybe a septum surgery, because my septum is literally like a zigzag and it cuts off the airflow on both sides of my nose. So he said, that's maybe the only surgery that you're really going to need. However, I want to be able to check and see, can you not eat that, please, cat? She's eating wires because that's normal for a cat to do. He's like, I want to check and see what's going on in your blood because I feel like it could be an immunity issue. And this is where the business part comes in. Because for the last, I don't know how long, I have been pushing myself and pushing myself and pushing myself to build this business, to go online, to be an online business owner, to be a coach, to be a something, to be an anything, to have it online. And it's not come to fruition the way that I was anticipating for it to come to fruition. And at first, it's kind of hard to swallow that pill because I feel like I've tried for so long and I've sunk so much investment, like not just even money, right? Like I have sunk a lot of money into it, but even time and effort and energy. I've spent so long trying to do this, and it's like, well, where is this even getting me? Like, what has even come of this? And I've had this existential crisis this week because of the ENT appointment that I've had and him saying that it has to do with immunity, and he thinks that it's an immune system problem because I'm constantly on antibiotics and I'm never really allowing my body a chance to fight for itself. And when he said that, I kept thinking of how much work and time and effort and money and energy I put into building this. And it almost seems silly at the end of the day that I don't sell what it is that I have to offer. Like, I have spent so much time learning and growing and becoming this knowledge, like this brain, and doing. And every time I act, I feel like I'm falling on my face, putting out content, falling on my face, watching it not convert into sales. And it's like I look back at this and I'm like, how could I be so silly thinking that my content is just going to magically do this work for me? And I'm not even talking about what it is that I have to offer people and how I could change their lives, what problems I could solve for them. And I'm coming to see now, more than ever especially, that it doesn't matter how much work you do, because the work at the end of the day isn't going to move the needle forward. Yeah, okay, I've done so much work to learn about my finances. I've done so much work to learn about how to build an online business. I've done so much work building out portals, sending out emails, making content. But the things that are going to move the needle forward, maybe content is involved to a point, right? Like, obviously, you wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be continuously tuning in, and you know, you wouldn't be able to find me if I didn't put content out there. So content is a needle moving activity to a point. But if I'm not going into my content or my stories or my videos or my podcast and saying, hey, I created this product called Financial Fitness. It's a self-paced course, and you will learn the exact principles and foundations that I used to pay off over $28,000 of credit card debt. Like, if I don't tell you that, then you're never going to know that that problem of credit card debt can be solved by taking this course. And it's a $97 self-paced course. And if you're interested in learning more or how to increase your money-making ability, then what I'm going to do is I'm building out this membership. It's called the Moneymaker Membership. And you can get access to the Moneymaker Membership and to the Financial Fitness course, plus any course I release in the next 6 months, completely as an add-on, a free add-on with your yearly sign-up for Moneymaker Membership. And like, unless I told you that, you wouldn't know. And I'm sitting here and I'm getting so frustrated with myself and looking at this business venture that I've been looking to do and trying to build and being like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? I'm working so hard. I'm doing so much. And yeah, I am. I'm working so hard. I'm doing so much, but I'm not doing the right tasks. And that really goes to it speaks volume to the prioritization of what you want to do in your business. And like, I just heard this YouTube video recently where the creator was talking about the concept of permanent content versus vanishing content. I think that's more of a topic for a different episode, but she was talking about the concept of permanent content versus vanishing content, and she was talking about how she's going to change her strategy to include more lifestyle stuff in short form video, because short form video will get people in the door, and long form video is going to be where she can deliver all of this educational stuff. And I almost feel like that's a really great strategy. Like, I feel like that's going to be so productive. And I know for a fact that her goal is to reach a certain number of subscribers on her channel for YouTube. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up as like a big thing is because I think I'm going to be shifting my content focus to be more on YouTube myself. And so she was talking about how she wants to reach this goal by the end of the year in 2024 for her YouTube channel. And she's already gained 4,000 subscribers on her way to that goal since the beginning of this year. And I literally just looked. And okay, 4,000 might not seem like a lot comparatively to the goal that she has, which is like 100,000. She wants to get another 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. But it's still a pretty significant drop in the bucket. And if you think about it, people are going to talk to other people about what she's done and what she's accomplished and what she's been able to do. And they're going to be like, hey, have you heard about so-and-so? Hey, have you seen so-and-so's video? And people are going to naturally drive traffic to her page. So anyways, getting back to the point here. After I had that session with the ENT, it really made me consider the concept and topic of work and what effective work for your business looks like and what senseless work for your business looks like. And it's not necessarily senseless, like it makes no sense at all whatsoever to include. There is, like, you do need to include it. It makes sense, and, it makes sense. It is important to include that work, yes. But as the CEO, as the driver of your business, you have to be at the steering wheel. And if you're in the back seat, the car's not going anywhere. The car's literally just going to stay exactly where it is. And so I've been in the back seat, and this doctor kind of got into the passenger seat of the car and said, hey, if you don't change what's going on right now, none of this is going to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So he really kind of opened my eyes up to the fact that I am going to talk more about my offers, and I am going to talk more about my products, and I am going to talk more about my services that I have, because why not? I'm creating something to solve your problem, and you'll never know about it unless I talk about it. And I'm not going to let any of these personal dramas get in the way of me saying to you, hey, I can help you with this problem you're having. Because my personal drama is my personal drama, and it plays no role in the exchange and interaction of me telling you that I can help you start your business online. I can help you build the foundations. I can help you get into a better financial situation, and I can help you actually see the skyrocketing success that you're looking to see. I can get you connected to the right people. I can get you into the right rooms. Like, those are things that I am capable of doing. I know that I am. And if you're having those problems, send me a DM, because I know exactly who to connect you with. So, more or less, moral of the story here is I'm going to be taking some time to really build out a more efficient plan where it's going to work for me for my business, and it's not going to drive me into a hole in the ground, because I'm not going to have the capacity to be able to do that if I'm going to get surgery on my nose. Plain and simple. That, and if it's an immune problem like he thinks that it is, then I have to spend time taking care of my health and taking care of my immune system and rebuilding my threshold of immunity, so to speak, so that I don't constantly get sick ever again. That might look different for a portion of time. I know that it's going to look different in terms of what I'm consuming, not just in terms of like content. I mean actually eating. So take this away from this episode where you have to do what is going to move the needle forward in your business. That's your job. That's your role as the CEO and owner, to move the business forward. And if the business is not moving forward, then I want you to ask the question, am I acting as the CEO of this business? Journal on that. Because if you're letting those personal things come up in the way, that to me sounds like it's more of a personal development journey. Not to say that building a business isn't a personal development journey, it is, but you're staying stuck. You're allowing yourself to stay stuck. Just a thought. Thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you very soon, and maybe in the next episode we'll cover the whole YouTube thing and then the permanent content versus vanishing content. Kind of feeling that. All right. Talk to you soon.